Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to the April 2024 Equal Opportunity Review Commission meeting. We're going to open up the meeting with our Commission Chair Connolly to approve the March minutes.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join us this morning. Can I get a motion to approve the March minutes, please?
Commissioner Hall, I make a motion to approve March minutes.
Can I get a second?
I'll second. Sarah Siegel.
All right, great. All in favor indicate by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
minutes are approved. We'll move on to the first plan.
Okay, we're at the first plan. It's the Blue Street Slab Remediation Construction Project. It's a DOMI project. And everybody on here is local, and we have 25.67%. And there is someone on the line to talk about it, Commissioner Chair.
Okay, well, this participation is great. I don't think it requires a whole lot of discussion, but what I would like to know how they advertised and how they were able to acquire this great participation.
Who's on here for to talk about this slide?
All right, if they don't, we'll move on because I'm.
Hello, I'm here. Sorry, my
Okay,
internet had froze for a second.
The question was, how did you come to get this good participation, and talk a little bit about the project, please.
Okay, we had reached out with emails as well as phone calls to solicit for the project. Our goal, what we were able to reach was 21.15% minority and 4.52% woman-owned business. And we have minority participation with the landscaping on the project, with the trucking aggregate, as well as miscellaneous construction supplies. We have WBE participation with the guide rail, as well as the traffic control and additional miscellaneous construction items for the WBE as well. So we were at a 25.66% participation with the DBE.
Well, that's great. We appreciate you coming on and telling us how you did that as well. Commissioners, does anybody else have anything for Amy?
Looks great.
Okay, can I get a motion, please?
I'll move to approve.
Commissioner Hall, second.
Great. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay. Thanks so much. Let's move on to the next plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next plan, we're going to move to Housing Authority, and this is for painting of units in common areas for their asset management program. We have two primes on this. The total on this, one of the primes is an NDE. The total on this is 50% MWDBE. And I think Ronaldo's on the call.
Hi, good afternoon, commissioners. So yeah, this is our painting of our units. One of the primes is a MBE, that's JNS Handyman. They've done work with us before. We have two primes on the project, Grace Construction and JS Handyman. And our MBE, our WBE will also be Lady Carpenter. As well. They've done work with us in the past, so we've been very happy with their work. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It is a 3-year contract, which is a switch from our usual 5-year contract that we have.
Okay, commissioners, does anybody have any questions about this? This looks pretty solid. All right. Can I get a motion?
I make a
Commissioner
motion.
Hall, make a motion to approve.
Great. Second,
This is Chiquita Barnett. I'll second.
all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, let's move on to the next housing authority.
Project. Next housing authority is the grieving hearing officer. This is more as needed, but they were able to get 18% WB on this. This is more of a grievance officer hearing, so this was pretty good, but we'll hear from Renell.
Okay.
Yes, so this is for our grievance hearing officer plan. They will be hearing on an as needed basis, maybe 1 to 4 times a month, approximately for 5 hours for any of the grievances that primarily our residents may have. So they'll be listening in at the hearing. They'll be listening to different testimonies. So we were able to get WBE participation at the 18%. Initially, there was an MBE on the project, Chandler Reporting Services. However, they did respond back and said that they are no longer able to participate in on this project just due to their workload, if you will, that they weren't able to take on any additional projects.
Okay.
I have a question. This is Commissioner Barnett. When this is professional services, is this a position, a one-person position, or is this multiple people that are contracted through these through the prime, or are they employees?
No, professional services is a classification of what type of contract it is. There's construction services, professional services. So what would fall under professional services is really where it's one company that normally self-performs. So that would fall into like the architects, engineering, that sort of thing, attorneys, legal work, that kind of thing. And just for a quick, to bring you a little bit further along in your orientation and to this commission, professional services is a little bit more difficult to get participation than construction services because the contract is difficult to split up and sub out. Most companies that fall under professional services self-perform, have their own employees that cover what they're servicing. Is that a good explanation, Renelda?
Yeah, I think you covered it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you
Sure.
very much.
Yep. Okay. I'm happy with this. If you guys have any more other questions regarding participation, then please address Renelda with them. If not, then can I get a motion?
This is Chiquita Barnett. I make a motion that we approve this.
Great. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor indicate by saying aye, raising your hand.
Aye.
Great.
Great, project passes.
Okay.
We're still with housing authority on number 4. This one is for a grass cutting of vacant lots in the Middle Hill and Hamilton Lumber District. It's a 3-year contract. And as of right now, we do not have any participation on it, but I want Renelda to do some explaining, which she can do better than that.
Yeah, Renelda, come on, girl. You know this one's going to be a hard one for me to get through. Grass cutting.
Yes, so we did.
Landscaping, gathering up brush, and how is this not being split up?
Well, primarily they're just, I think it's pretty, they're just cutting12 So we did do our due diligence as far as the outreach, and we did receive a 12 bids So we did receive a lot of entries, if you will, bid
Mhm.
proposals. However, it's awarded to the lowest
Qualified.
responsive bidder. And so Blue Ground Mining, that's what it is. And as far as them, they are a self-certified WBE.
Okay.
So we are in the process of trying to get them to become a certified WBE business.
Okay, so, well, that's encouraging that it is definitely a WBE. They just are in the process of getting certified. Had they not considered being certified before starting your process?
I don't believe that they were aware of it,
Okay,
if
that it
that
was
makes,
required? Yeah,
yeah, like I don't think that they were aware of that they could become a certified WBE. They were just more self-certified as a WBE company.
okay.
Are
So
are they fully I'm sorry, can I just ask?
no, you go ahead, Sarah. I asked my question. Go ahead.
Just the way you worded it, Ronaldo, are they fully willing and pursuing those certifications?
Yeah, so I've been working with them and sending them. I'm waiting to hear back from them. So just to send them the information for our certifying agencies here in Allegheny County so they can
Okay.
at least start the process.
Those Commissioner Hall. So are they minority or are they just women? And I mean, it goes hand in hand, but
Yeah.
I just want to know because they're going into the Hill District basically. I know everybody else split it up in threes, but for me, it's just one. So can you answer that, please?
On their documentation, they just put that they are a WBE.
Okay.
Do you know if the woman owner is a minority or not?
I do not.
Okay. I mean, it just would be interesting if we knew that, but that's not going to make a difference, I don't think, in our decision making here.
I have a question, please.
Sure.
This Commissioner Williams, I'm curious to know of the 12 bids that you did get, Ms. Ronalda. What was the overwhelming issue with them? You said, we know you have to pick most responsive and responsible, but what were the issues, some of them from the local ones? Because I see this entity's out in Canonsburg.
Mm-hmm. So I sent over the bid tabulation form, and so some of them just didn't fall within our ICE, and that's known as the independent cost estimate. It has to fall between, I believe, 75 and 100%. And Anna is on here, so she could speak a little bit more to that.
That's great.
So they have to fall within a certain percentage, meaning that if they bid too low, then obviously they're out of the scope. And if they bid too high, then so they have to fall within a certain range. Some of the, I think, bids that we did receive, one of them just didn't have any information at all. So one of the way, commissioners, that we are trying to obviously, we do want that participation, and we do take into account, we really want our MWBE numbers to be well represented, is that we're looking to have an event this summer of telling people not just how to do business with the Housing Authority, but also how to fill out these bids and how to fill them out correctly. Because I think that that's one of the issues. And I know we're looking to partner with Riverside Center for Innovation. We had mentioned that during one of our past meetings. But obviously some of them, being a small business, they just don't know how to fill it out, what to look for, what to read.
Yeah. Well, I understand, and I know that that's happening, and I know the effort that the Housing Authority always makes. In this particular contract, the fact that it is a woman-owned business makes me feel a lot better about it. And this is grass cutting. So commissioners, please keep in mind that this needs to move forward and be decided on today. I've already had my grass cut twice. I don't know about the rest of you, but we cannot have it look just from street view, the properties look disheveled or not well kept. That's embarrassing for the city, and it's embarrassing for the housing authority as well. So let's, here's what I would suggest. This is my recommendation, is to move forward with this contract, approve it, but with the caveat that Ronaldo present us the certification after after they've gone through the process and have been approved.
Well, I'd like to
I
say
have
for
a
me, it was
question.
important. Yeah, I
Go
do
ahead,
too,
Dr.
Commissioner
Hall.
Hall. It's important for me to know if the woman is a minority.
Okay.
That is important for me.
This is Chiquita Barnett, and what's important for me as well, as I'm thinking about with Commissioner Hall, this work is in predominantly African American communities. So I'm always about workforce development, but how many, I don't know if it doesn't come in any of our questions, but will they have African American folks from the community employed by this company to do this work in their neighborhood?
Ronaldo, that's
Ronaldo, was
questions for you.
somebody on the call? Was there somebody on the call from this?
No,
Oh, okay.
there's no one on
Okay.
the call represented from the company.
Okay.
Realistically, they're cutting grass. So I don't know how much room there is to technically sub out. Like, this is just a
Yeah.
small mom and pop type
Yeah.
of business. So while it would be great and I could tell you what I think you want to hear, I do want to just be realistic and just say, Commissioner Barnett, I believe, just asked that question, that the chances of them hiring someone from the community would be unlikely.
And the reason for that is they have their own employees, they pay the benefits of their employees. So they have that person on staff already, whether that person is a minority or not a minority, they are a staff person of this company. So to go outside and reach out to the community just to hire somebody for the sake of fulfilling that, wish, that, obviously that's our mission and we would love to see that. Can't really put that onus on a company that's already, has employees and pays their insurance and benefits and everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Well,
but I don't think that's a wish. Like, that's not a wish. I mean, we're just looking at it I'm speaking just for myself. I'm looking at that they're coming into the Hill District, grass cutting or car waxing. That's exactly what I'm looking at. So it's neither here nor there. And Ronaldo, you did your due diligence by seeing when you get the bids and all, but that's where I'm standing. So.
And if I may add something, Commissioner Hall, I do see your point and I don't disagree with you. I think in this case, as Ronaldo was saying, they are more of a mom and pop and a smaller business. And, we can't, again, tell them who they have to hire, especially train and whatnot. But I can see that in some things that are, I could see that for me personally. I could see that for different projects that maybe are a little bit more, that are deeper, right? And have more layers and maybe more needs. Also with this, I will just say this from my experience. I know, it seems easy. But there is equipment, right? And there's a liability to that equipment. So to just be able to go out and hire people, there's going to be a training process. Some of these lots are not just small, easy, right? There's hills and weed whackers and things of that nature. So I think that to be said as well, that, part of who they hire is people who have experience in using this type of equipment and or are at the level that they can safely do so. So, I mean, in this case, I'm not, pushing back, but I do think this one probably, in my opinion, would, that would be harder to fit your needs there, but I don't disagree with you specifically on projects that have more steps than maybe just going in, cutting that grass and coming out. So.
Yeah,
that's-
I'm not even looking for anyone to agree or disagree. I'm just stating from the just listening and looking at the plan, where it moves me in terms of you know, just the actual work. I mean, mom and pops, large company or not. I mean, so I don't really have much more to say. So I'm done.
This is Commissioner Kramer. Can I ask two questions? The first, with mom and, I mean, I know some of this goes beyond the purview of EORC, but being if we are going to approve something where someone is not yet certified as a women-owned business, but we're encouraging that, are there things that can be encouraged with regards to, as other people have raised, hiring locally or, other aspects? But again, I know that's beyond our purview, but a lot of mom and pop landscape companies hire seasonal workers. They don't keep them employed all year round. I don't know a lot about this company in particular, but they're paying, minimum wage. They usually don't have benefits or other things associated with it. So I'm curious, does the city, I should know this, but for contracts like these, or aspects like prevailing wage included in the contract? That was one question. And then I forget the second one, but I'll stop at that one for now. Oh, the second question is, you mentioned that 12 bids were received. The ones that maybe didn't qualify, were any of those bids from MBEs? And I know there's a session pardon me?
I said, I'm sure there were. I'd be shocked if there wasn't.
Because, I know there's a session this summer, but I do think that one of the big barriers, especially if it's a closed bidding process, you mentioned if it's outside of that threshold of percentages, a lot of people, especially if they're starting out as an MWBE, one of the hardest things is to scope and price, a bid. And so I'm just curious, like, were there MBE bids? Did some of them come in too low? Having incomplete documentation, I realize, is another aspect, but I just do think that's something for us to be aware of.
You're on mute, Renelda.
Okay,
Hi.
sorry. Anna and I were actually in the same office, so I'll go first. I do believe that we did receive some MBEs.
We did,
do-
yes.
Yes, so we did receive MBE bids. And also, actually, I believe one of the people who did submit actually won a bid with the city of Pittsburgh for one of their grass cutting items a couple years ago. As far as, I forget, Commissioner Kramer, the other question you had asked, and I think Anna might be able to add
It was
some.
around, I
The
realize it's out of
prevailing
the
wage,
purview.
correct?
The prevailing wage, and just, I guess, the encouragement of hiring locally, because because it is landscaping, like a lot of landscaping companies recruit workers right before every single season. They rarely hold them on all year round. And so addressing some of the issues around local opportunity, local hiring, I was just curious about that.
So we do, they do have to submit a section 3 plan with each bid, and part of that has 4 tiers, and one of the tiers is hiring section 3 business or hiring, which then is hiring locally as well. So we encourage it. Again, some things, in my opinion, it's just the nature of that type of business. Right. And that's the nature of, and this, again, grass cutting. So I find that people, yes, to your point, sometimes they're seasonal, but I do find the majority of the companies that do grass cutting also do snow removal. So they do tend to keep that staff on year round. And they just kind of let, what the weather, right? And what they're maintaining for the home or the property. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you so much. I appreciate both answers.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
I have a question. Is Erin's assumption that if we don't approve this month, correct, that this grass won't be cut? There's nobody else that can fill in from the authority for a month?
I mean, this is a $750,000 contract over 3 years because it's a multiple properties. So, to pull our resources to fill in, I mean, that's just not necessarily feasible. I don't believe. I mean, that would actually come from our facilities team who handles, or LIPH team, I guess, who handles, that rollout, but we did do this, at the time that we did so that we could be prepared to have a company come in to keep the properties maintained, to stay within, what the city guidelines are to having, your grass cutting, your property maintained, things looking good so that we can keep up with it and not get behind on it. So,
Right. The project is slated to begin in May and usually wrap up in October.
Well, all right, this is what I'm gathering from all of this. Whoever bid on the project that happened to be a certified minority, I mean, I'm just assuming that you had some certified minority bidders here.
we did, yes.
Okay. Were they too high, out of range? This company, Blue Ground Mining, were awarded the contract because why? Because they were the lowest and qualified? Were they the only ones that had all of the whole bid filled out properly? Was this already, I know that we touched on this, but we need clarification because I'm not going to let this discussion go more than another 5-10 minutes. So I want to know, let's get down to the brass tacks here. They were awarded it because why? Were they the lowest? Were they the
Renata,
lowest?
may I jump in there? Okay, so they were the lowest responsible bidder. What we found with this, and one of the reasons we were, Renata has already gone out, like she said, and done how to do business and whatnot. What we're finding specifically with this one, which is why she has, gone the next step to put something out there, to do how to fill out the bid package, is because we found specifically with this one that although it was very standard in one of our, easier forms, that people were not, a lot of these companies are smaller, right? Grass cutting companies are not these big companies, and they don't fill out the IFB packets as much as maybe they would do a 3-quote bid packet. So that being said, they didn't necessarily fill it outright. So of all of the 12 that we had a lot of, so one was under, 2, 4 were under. Yeah, I mean, Blue Ground Mining was actually out of the 12, the only one that was within the acceptable range that was responsive and responsible. And we did have MBEs and WBEs. Some of them, they were either too high or too low. That being said, there's one that I have not seen bid often, and I've noticed that there are projects they have been bidding on, and they've certainly, maybe this just wasn't their forte, because they've certainly hit the mark on other projects, right?
Okay.
So
okay.
I do, in my opinion, and again, Renata, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this one's a little bit of an outlier, just for the nature of what's happening here.
And there's only 2 people, a husband and wife, because I did some background on it. This is a husband and wife duo that have been awarded this contract. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes,
they're the
that's it. They're
company,
the only
they're the
two
company
employees.
owners.
They're the company.
They own the company.
Okay.
How many employees are a part of their company? I would have to look into that, or I don't.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, are there any more questions?
Yeah, I have one. So did you guys work with Chuck in terms of if there were any other Pittsburgh companies that were in the realm of scope of work?
That's a great question, Commissioner Hall. So actually, I did. So whenever I did my outreach, I did utilize the system that and Chuck, I can't, is it the
PTG now.
yes. So what I did was I actually researched all of the contracts that the city of Pittsburgh did, who submitted a bid for them, right? I did, and I reached out to those specific companies, and it is part of that outreach list that I did submit with my plan over. And so I was like, well, obviously, if they had an interest in the city of Pittsburgh contracts, then let me just reach out to them to see if they would have an interest in ours as well. So I was able to look on the website, see who had an interest, and it also does give the a notification, if you will, or of who maybe even clicked on it or who downloaded the file. And so from that, I was able to gather their information and reach out to them to see and send them all of the information, our pre-bid information. It was a well-attended pre-bid meeting. Obviously, we had, I believe, like a 2-week window letting them know of everything, all of the information regarding this specific project that we have going on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I do remember specifically I did talk to Anna about it, and I said, we typically get a good amount of MBE participation for our painting, so I was definitely going to focus my efforts on the outreach portion for grass cutting.
Thanks.
My only thing is I wish it wasn't 3 years.
And just
We
to
would have
that
more of a,
point,
yeah, we would have more of
they're,
an
they're
opportunity.
sorry. I'm sorry, excuse me. Just so you know, they are traditionally 5 though.
Fine.
So we are,
Okay.
we are actually trying to work more with 3-year contracts in order to give more people the ability. So, I mean, I do understand what you're saying, but it is actually 2 years shorter than previous times. So
Okay. All right.
Yep.
And
I don't know if
I
that helps.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah. I
course.
appreciate that because the 3-year contracts really shortening the contracts from 5 to 3 years does give all of these companies an opportunity to learn how to navigate through the bidding process. Listen, that's important. I can't fault the housing authority for not, I give them credit for even participating in educating companies on how to do that, how to bid. Not every company feels like that's their responsibility, but they have taken that on, and that's commendable in my book.
And I just wanted to say, Commissioner Conley, that the reason it was cut to the 3 years, it was actually a recommendation by one of our board members who did bring up about it being, our standard 5-year, and they had recommended that we cut it down to the 3 years. So obviously we have implemented that over the past couple of months, and just
to give more opportunity. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, we're all working towards the same goal, and it's going to take some time. But I feel like we've made progress, the EORC ourselves, in the past 3 to 5 years in bringing companies a little bit further along in this bidding process and how to get work with the authorities. All right, like I said, I'm not going to give this a whole lot more time. We're either going to pass it or push it to next month. I don't think pushing it to next month is going to make a difference. But can I get a motion?
I want to make a motion to table this the next month in the hopes that somebody can assist and get a bid from some minorities that are local, or get these people to actually become really certified women-owned businesses, or get them to make a commitment for Section 3 participation. Was that not the motion you were looking for, Chair Conley?
It doesn't, I'm not looking for any, it's not up to me.
Well, okay. Nobody said anything, sorry.
Well, that means you need to get a second, and if you don't get a second, and then it has to pass.
Roger that.
I second that motion. This is Chiquita
Who's that?
I
Barnett.
apologize, but may I ask for clarity, because it was to get
Three
a
things.
bid that was
Three things.
minority, but then that would, if I'm understanding, then you're asking us to put this back out for bids so that we can see if we can get somebody. It sounded like you want us to put this whole procurement back out.
No.
Yeah, and that's
If that's possible, maybe, but that's not what I had
No.
in mind.
Yeah, I
So
don't,
if you could work with someone, I'm really curious as to why, you had 12 people, 12 bids, and then 8 people show up, and then only this one person, met the criteria. Something's wrong in the process
they
there. So,
filled the bid
No, there's
sheet
not.
out wrong. They
Okay.
filled, they
yeah,
did
they have to
not
build, it has to be
submit the
filled out.
information
I heard that.
accurately.
I heard
And in
that.
order to not, if they do not fill it out accurately and they don't provide the correct, it has nothing to do with the numbers necessarily, as much as they actually, many of them did not fill out the IFB packet and their bid, their actual sheet, like even just the bid sheet with what they wanted to charge, they didn't do it accurately. And in that being said, we have to compare apples to apples. So they were disqualified, and that's why Ronaldo then decided to take it upon herself to then go and actively put out there how to, along with her, how to do business. We're going to go out and do, how to fill these out accurately and go through them. And I mean, for me personally,
you.
I would encourage, if any of you have your organizations and or if you work with small business, minority and women-owned businesses, like, please get us in touch with them so that we can invite them, and or, we'd be happy to partner with you and do one as well.
And commissioners, if you would like, there is the bid tabulation form, which is public knowledge. It is posted on our website. I can even drop it into the Zoom chat for you all to take a look at if you would like, and you could see what companies and the bid amount, if that would be helpful to you.
I would like to look at it. I don't know if it's really going to help me per se, but I appreciate if you drop that in the chat, because I'm looking through the packet here and I didn't see it. So do you want me to be clear? I think I made a motion, maybe we have a second, but I want Anna to fully understand what the motion on the table is. So if you can't, each of them was an and or, right? So if you can't do them all, let's try to get one of them. And so it was try to find an MBE locally who meets the criteria, but maybe sounds like that's too late. And or try to get these people to actually become really certified WBEs, because that still seems uncertain. Or lastly, get a commitment from Blue Mining or whatever their name is, this company, that they will actually take advantage of the Section 3 opportunities that are available. Those are the three.
Okay, it's looking like because of the restrictions, I guess there isn't a chat option for me to drop it in for you or for me to send it personally. I think it's just the way that the Zoom meeting is set up.
Okay, can you send it?
Chuck can get it to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do understand. So thank you for clarifying. So for the trying to get them certified, they were, I believe, if, you know, Ronaldo, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're maybe not necessarily were aware that there was a process to become officially certified. So I know Renata is actively working with them on that. And when it comes to Section 3, they do actually, to be qualified, have to fill out our Section 3 plan, in which they did. And, you know, there again, and traditionally I do see this with specifically grass cutting and contracts like this. There's really you know, there isn't a new hire opportunity for them due to the nature of the business.
So their Section 3 says that they're not going to try to actively recruit or hire people from the community, right? Is that what you're saying?
They do not have the ability to do that based off of the type of work that they do. So they already have their new hires will be employed as a result of, no new hires will be employed as a result of the award. So what this Section 3 is based off of this one contract. You know, are you able to do that? And again,
And they said no. Okay.
correct,
So-
but that is I mean, for them, I don't know what the nature of their business, their expenses. Again, there's with grass cutting, there's equipment, there's just certain things that it's to me, it's not the same as maybe hiring someone, you know, in construction, where you could typically, like for Section 3, they'll do a new hire opportunity and they'll provide those jobs to maybe flaggers and or certain jobs that they can then bring people in. You know, it's easier to say that they can hire because there are jobs that require less training and or a skill set for certain equipment. So in
Okay,
this
Anna,
case-
I'm gonna, Anna, everybody, can I just speak? Chuck, can I just speak for a second? This meeting is not meant to be a training session for commissioners that have come onto the commission. That is to be done outside of this hour meeting, okay? I am more than happy to have lunch with Angela, coffee.
I don't
or-
need a training session. Thank you.
Can I make a recommendation?
Well, I mean, I've been on this commission for 12 years. I've been through so many contracts. I understand the shorthand of what's being spoken about here and why things can be done and why they can't be done. So if you don't feel like you want to benefit from my 12 years of being on this commission, chair for almost 4, then okay. Cool.
Can we get back to
But
the-
I'm not
the-
going
the-
to spend any more time on this plan.
Let Sharon, commissioners, let me make a recommendation that I think it'll work for all of us. All right? Let's make sure that they're certified through the PAUCP, right? We can do that as when they come, Renelda and I can get them to Sue Bross. Sue will make sure that they get their certification. If they have all their paperwork in order, it shouldn't take that long. When that paperwork is done, Renelda and Anna can come back and submit that to us. If they are certified, okay? The length of the contract is 3 years. The certification is gonna take 3 months. So, what we do need though from Renelda and Anna though, if they do not become WDE certified, then there's something has to be done there. But it sounds like they're in the process of doing that. So we should have an answer in the next 3 months on the case of the certification. What I'll do is I'll work with Sue Broadus personally to make sure that they are on their track to get certification, and I will report out to the commission. That's my suggestion.
Okay.
Can we get back to the motion?
Yep. The motion's been made. It's waiting for a second.
I second that.
Oh, you
This is
did?
Chiquita Barnett.
Thanks, Commissioner Burnett. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Or raising your hand.
Aye.
Can I just ask Chuck for a clarifying question before I vote on this? Chuck,
Sure.
are you recommending that we could go ahead today and approve this contract with some stipulation that if there's not, the certification doesn't happen within 3 months, then it
Yes,
is pulled back?
my recommendation is basically for Renell and Ann, that we pursue their certification. If they're not certified, in the 3 to 6 months where it takes to get certified, then maybe this should be sent back out to bid. Okay? And Commissioner Conley's right on this too, that the grant is like 6 foot high my house. So, because it needs cut. So, there's a kind of a catch-22 here. The grass needs to be cut. The lots need to be cleaned up. They have somebody in place. We just have to make sure they get their WBE certification. That's what I'm saying. But it's not up to me, it's up to the commissioners, to do what you guys would like to do with this.
Okay, so what's gonna happen is we have to either pass or not pass the motion that has been moved and seconded. That if that doesn't pass, then we can make a new motion to do what Chuck just said, but we have to make sense.
Chair Connolly, can you repeat the first motion, how it was stated, please?
I'd like Angela to repeat it since she made it.
I take the motion off the table.
No, the original motion was, and it makes sense to me too, though. The original motion was.
And why can't Commissioner Conley state it?
Yes, they're both, both are valid points, okay? If you wanna table it, guys, we can table it. And you know how we do our special, we can do a special, right? After I found out, make sure that they're going through the PAUC process. That's one. 2, I'm not sure about the hiring practices for the housing authority and what they do with their contracts. I don't know that, so I can't say that. 3, right? I do agree with Commissioner Dr. Hall. These projects are in minority areas, right? And that's the stickler with me. That's why we have to get that company to be a WBE, an MBE, or something like that. Now, explaining the companies that did not do well in their bidding process. That happens a lot. We are here at the city doing a bidding training process on how to bid. Most small companies do not, I repeat, do not know how to bid, right? They just don't for some reason. So we are having a class also on training how to bid. So those are just my suggestions, guys. You guys are the commissioners. It's up to you to make a decision, not me.
What is the motion on the floor? So we can get this done.
The motion on the floor is to table it until we find or get more information. And that was seconded by, it was,
Commissioner Sarah.
right, it was second. So
No, not Sarah.
it was seconded by Commissioner Barnett.
Oh, excuse me.
It
Commissioner
wasn't
Barnett.
Sarah.
Commissioner Williams made the original, and I believe Commissioner Barnett seconded.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank
I'm
you.
also hearing, I was interested in your comment, Chuck, that we don't need to wait a month perhaps, that we could
Right. We don't
hold
have-
this
Right. We
for
won't
even
have to-
like a week until you get more information for us.
right,
That's
we don't-
appealing to
Well,
me.
then, okay, well, then it should not have been brought to this meeting.
Right.
You guys, come on.
I agree.
Chuck,
The
if
other
you didn't
thing-
feel that this was ready, then
Time
why
I
out.
agree.
was it brought?
Wait a minute. Time out, please. I can only suggest that it doesn't come to the meeting. I cannot stop it, especially
Okay.
from another agency, right? A City of Pittsburgh project, I gotta probably say, let's wait. But this is not a City of Pittsburgh project. This is a
Right.
housing authority project.
I understand.
You know, the other thing I want to say before I forget, and I might have to hop off really soon, is in these
Me too.
situations, especially when we don't have, you know, the numbers we need, it would be really helpful to have the contractor on the call.
Right.
I know, you know, I know this is a small business and they're probably out really busy on, you know, with their clients.
Cutting
But just
grass.
even cutting grass, but even just, you know, hopping on from their car for a few minutes, I think that would have gone a long way today if we could have heard directly from them there and they could have heard from us our concerns. So for future reference, I think that should almost be a, you know, like a strong guideline. If especially if we don't have the numbers, we need to hear why from the folks.
And Commissioners, Chuck has really been great to work with, and he did recommend, he absolutely did recommend that perhaps maybe it should be. I was the one, it was my decision to say, obviously, because of the time constraint that we are working with. So Chuck did
Mhm.
do his due diligence, and did make that suggestion, of course. And he really is great. He knows his stuff and is always helpful to provide any kind of feedback, any kind of recommendations. And him and his team also send over their list of MBEs and WBEs as requested in a very timely manner. This was, if you have to, I guess, blame anyone or put anyone up
I'm
there,
not blaming
then
anyone, Renata.
yeah, I mean, that
But you, I
definitely,
mean, you guys know, you had to have known. You cannot
correct.
come to us with zero and not have, like Sarah suggested, have that couple on here. Then
And
we know if they were a minority. Do you know what I mean? Like this is making a huge difference, and it's going to make people feel a lot more comfortable about grass being cut up in these properties in the Hill District. You had
right.
to have known.
And
So
sure, and I understand because you all have a job to do, and so I do understand the concern, obviously. But I can fully say that our outreach, right? It just doesn't start. It is a full outreach effort of making sure that we're sending this information to the African American Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the Pittsburgh Hispanic Development Corporation, just to make sure that we are really getting out that information, along with putting in these emails as much detail as we can. And I think that that is something, and I am very confident and actually quite proud of, that I have a supportive team behind me, like Anna, like Mr. Dietrich, who obviously we understand that this is an issue. I think not just with HACP, but obviously with a couple of agencies, that how can we do better? What can we do on our part just to make sure that we are having that representation of MBEs at the table? So, hey, and Mr. Dietrich is fully behind it and supportive of it. We're just trying to find a location where we can have it and where we can team up with the Riverside Center for Innovation and do a partnership just to make sure that we're covering all of our bases.
okay. Where are we at, Chuck?
Well, it's up to you guys.
Are we making did that motion not pass? Are we making a new motion?
There was only two people that, one made the motion, one seconded, and when you asked, does anybody else agree with it, nobody said anything. So that's where we left off at. So is there a new?
Okay, is Dr. Hall, are you willing to make a new motion? Because I heard you speak, like what you were saying is I was kind of I was in agreement with. So
Well, again, I'm not looking for agreement or disagreement. I'm just saying my motion would be to table this because I'm not passing it. So that's where I'm at. I'm not in favor of or comfortable with where this is right now. So table it, we come back with within a month vote. You know, however we want to do that so work can get done. I'm in favor of that, but not how
you're in favor of a special an email vote if they can produce their certification or show that it's been submitted.
They need to show that it's in work in the process.
Yeah,
Because if it's
that's what I
not
was
showing
thinking too.
within a month though, like, and I know it's a 3 month, I don't know, 3 week process, but
Well, if they've already
thinking to
started it,
myself, I need to see that it's in motion and then they're working towards certification. Because right now they're not in Pittsburgh. We don't know if they're minority. We don't know, and they're partly certified. That's just too many for me. So that's my motion. If I even made the motion.
they're not
So
minorities. I reached out to somebody else to ask, and they're not minorities.
yeah, okay.
I support, and maybe somebody else can phrase what this motion looks like, but I support what I'm hearing Commissioner Hall say, that we are tabling, not necessarily for a full month, but as long as it takes for Chuck to get us assurances that it's at least a woman-owned business and that they're in process. Is that, Dr. Hall, did I capture that?
Well, you're good, but I'm not pleased that they're not a minority going into the Hill District. So I'm not pleased with that part of it. So, you know, we're halfway there. We're almost there. You know,
Yeah.
so we can keep moving.
Another conversation that I think could probably, some clarification could be brought is if they could participate in the Section 3. Is there an opportunity to hire people from the Hill District, from the neighborhood? We haven't gotten clarification on that.
They don't even need to be from the neighborhood. They just need to be there. There needs to be an opportunity. Right now, there's not an opportunity for a minority, wherever they come from, to do some work in the Hill.
Yeah.
That's what I'm not hearing that piece. I'm not hearing that. They don't need to be from, you know, right on the street in the Hill District. They need to be a minority, or at least an opportunity. And that's what we're doing. We're supposed to be providing, making sure companies are providing opportunities. I don't hear that. Small, large, mom, pop, or teenager. I don't hear the opportunity in this.
Chuck, is that part of the conversation you could have with them?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I will have a conversation with them, and I will also circle around with Sue Broadus, who is great, to see how they're coming along with their certification.
Well, certification and, you know, what Dr. Hall is raising.
And opportunity. Even if they
Right.
present it and no one, you know, comes out and try to take advantage of the opportunity, they presented it. That's it. That's it. That'd be great for what is happening here, that an opportunity has presented. If no one took advantage of it, then that's the other party's part, not theirs. That's all I'm looking at.
So
Okay.
you guys want to table this for a couple weeks, and then I get
Yes.
back to you via email and let you know
Yes.
where we're at? How's that?
Yes.
I support
Yes.
that.
It's not being passed with conditions or anything like that. It's just being
We're not-
tabled.
we're not-
I just want to hear from every commissioner that they're comfortable with this decision. Who's all on here?
Commissioner Hall, I'm good with the decision.
All right, Sarah.
Commissioner
Motion.
Siegel, I'm good.
Okay,
My motion was to table it, so I'm obviously good.
okay,
Commissioner Kramer, I'm
Barnett,
good.
I'm okay with that.
all right. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'll
Commissioner
do,
Barnett.
guys, this is gonna be tabled, and 2 weeks from today, the information that I get, Renelda, I'll be working with Renelda. The information that I get 2 weeks from now, we'll do an email, response. Is that okay?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Let
you.
me know. Hey, Chuck, just text me that you sent the email if you don't mind. I'm sorry, I need that
Yes.
extra.
Yes, I can do that. Yes.
I'm not always
Okay.
checking these Yahoo emails, but I appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, so that's what we're doing with this one, guys. We're gonna table it for 2 weeks until I get back in touch with you guys. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
Ronaldo. Thanks,
Thank
Anna.
you, guys.
Thank you, commissioners. Have a good day.
Okay, we're gonna go to our last one of the day, guys. 240405, this is the Pittsburgh Municipal Code Codification and Publication. This is pretty straightforward. It's, there's people on the line for it though, I think they're bringing attention to it a little better. But it's just, doing the municipal code and printing it. And we have, a bunch of those guys are on the line. So you think you can ask, can somebody start the, somebody from the clerk's office, please? Kim's on the line.
Yeah, I was trying to get off mute.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Kim Clark Baskin, City Clerk. This is we're going to a new codifier, our current codifier municipal code. We went out for RFP and we chose general code. We had 4 responses. None of the vendors were local. General Code is the only company that we feel are able to handle our workload. A lot of the features that are important to us and that are needed, the other companies could not provide for us. It would have been a lot of tweaking their software in order to get it to operate the way that we needed to, because Pittsburgh's government can be so complex at times, and the other companies are used to dealing with smaller municipalities and boroughs and not really able to handle the caseload that we presented before them when we did the demos and going over their sheets on what they could do, what is possible, and just what couldn't be done. And too much fell in the what couldn't be done, and they were asking, us to wait until they work on a fix, and that just wasn't something that we were wanting to do. So that's why we chose general code.
I'm on this one.
Any questions for Kim? No? Can somebody make a motion, please?
Commissioner Hall, make a motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second. This is Commissioner Barnett.
Great. All in favor indicate by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion
Well,
passes. Thanks,
yeah.
Kim.
Thank
Thank
you.
All right, let's get to the ITQs.
Yes, positive, run through those real fast, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'll just keep it short. There are 6 ITQs, 5 from DOMI, 1 from DPW. The first one, Lewis Park upgrade. The prime here is Cosmos Technologies, and the cost is 73,000. The next 2 are less than 50, so I won't get into that. They're both from DOMI. The next one here is inspection of non-NBIS bridges. The prime here is Michael Baker International. They have 1 sub-consultant and MBE, a consultants, and the project cost is 285,774. The next one here is design services for Serpentine Drive Wall. The prime here is Larson Design Group, and they have 1 WBE studio for spatial practice. The project cost is 149,650, out of which 3,750 goes to the sub. The last one here is construction management, construction inspection. This is also less than 50,000, so I won't go into the details. Yeah, that's
Great.
it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I see there's only the commissioners on the line, guys. Let me just make one comment for all of you guys before you leave. I always make the recommendation, if it's not good, don't come, right? So don't think I don't try to stop.
I know.
I do my best, but I only can stop the city contracts, right? Housing authority, parking authority, PS, all those other guys, if they want to come here with the numbers they have, I cannot stop them.
The housing authority is the only authority that even does come before us.
Well, the parking authority's back now, and I got another parking. We
Okay,
just did a
well-
parking authority on Mill, and I got another one coming up next month.
What about PWSA? What about Alcastan? What about,
The mayor.
where are we at with those?
Mayor's meeting with them, meeting with their director, And they are gonna start coming back also. So, that's gonna happen too. And we have a one coming up in, I think it's June or July, the SEA. The
Oh, they
state-
used to come, always come to us.
They're getting ready to do another garage. So
Okay,
the
great.
SEA will be coming back to us too. Okay? So please keep in mind, if the numbers are bad, I try my best to not, for you guys not to go through what you just went through.
I know, Ronaldo should have known. And I texted Kim Dietrich while we were on. Okay, why'd you
Right.
even do this?
Right.
Honestly.
Now, my
All it did
suggestion,
was start,
right,
you
my
know, a
suggestion
discontent.
was with them at the beginning was break up the contract. Right? Break it
Yeah.
up. Break it up into 5 little parts.
Right.
Now those little guys have a chance to bid on it and bid properly. Right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So that was my suggestion, but hey, that's just
that's a
my
great suggestion,
suggestion.
actually.
And another suggestion, instead of a 3-year, it could be a 1-year, just like City Cuts does every year.
City cuts, right? Our city cuts program is.
I understand why they don't do 1 year. I
Yeah.
understand. I mean, that's a lot of that. Maybe the housing authority themselves do not have the staff to
Right.
do that on like 1 year. If they did 1 year on that, they would have to do 1 year. It's a ton of extra work that doesn't need, to, you know, that they could get away with. But 3 years, I think is reasonable. 2 years would obviously be better. And it is not, it's not our responsibility to teach minority and women-owned businesses and veteran-owned businesses and LGBTQ how to apply for the housing authority. It's their responsibility to educate those folks.
Right.
We're volunteers. Everybody
Right.
else is paid to do this. So
Right.
that's where I started getting
And
really
what
frustrated
I like
today.
about the cities, we have 25 or 26 people cutting grass, right? We just don't have one company
Right.
in the city, not the
Yeah.
housing, right? We have a whole bunch of people cutting grass.
Well, you know how, I
Yes.
mean, Mr. Dietrich is very, you know, it's responsible bidder. His,
Right.
what sticks in his craw is people that apply and aren't
They're
responsible,
responsible.
don't fill it
Right.
out correctly, don't take the time to, you know, dot their i's and cross their t's. And then I get that too.
Mhm. Right.
All right, I'm done talking about
Yeah, but
all of this.
we are holding classes on how to bid, okay? And I think
Okay.
there's like at our fair, there's 3 things that impede small businesses. Bidding, insurance, and bonding. Those are the 3 big things, right? That they need to learn how to do. So we are having classes on those things. We already had classes on bonding and certification. Now we're doing it on bidding.
All right, hold on.
All right. All right, well, I'm
Okay.
making a motion to adjourn.
And can I get a second on that?
A second.
Great. All right, bye, guys.